just a touch high.
The importance of match game play, as you see Weber riveted on the target, keeps his head down, his eyes on the target, knows it's going a little high, leaves the 4. As I was saying, the most important thing in match game play is not to have a letdown and let your opponent feel like you're squeezing him. And right now, Weber needs another strike to let Ferraro know that, hey, he's still there, even though he only has a 9-pin lead.
Using it all.
Now Pete has some trouble. If he makes the spare, he'll continue to lead by 5 pins. As you see the angle that Peter is playing, he goes over the second arrow, sends the ball not quite wide enough out to about the 5th board. Much more difficult than the 3-6-10. He has to concentrating on get that 9 out also.
Well, is he as free swinging as he was earlier in the match?
I don't think so, Chris. The point you picked up in the early part of the match, he went light, ripped the rack, and then in the key 4th frame, Peter went to the whip. He threw it as strong and as hard as he could, sent it out wide, took a commanding 33-pin lead. Now that Ferraro has bounced back, Weber's a little more tentative, and Ferraro for the first time can take the lead, 8th frame.
Come on, David. Come on, boy.
And he does. Nelson, the big leaders in bowling in the past years were honored by the American Bowling Congress this week in Wichita. Our friend Bruce Placon, Pete Tontis, George Pappas, and Harry Lippy, all inducted into the Hall of Fame, of which we're proud to be a member.
Good point. Some of the great players. Pete Tontis, a winner of this tournament way back in the early 60s, as Pete Weber is working on just himself. The crowd will tell Pete the story. Don't let the crowd affect your game plan, Peter, but he knows how to win. And here's another guy that knows how to win. Just 5 pins separate the 2 players, 9th frame.
Come on, Dave.
10-pin. Dave Ferraro bowling in the 9th frame. Much appreciated by this capacity crowd, one of the largest crowds because it's a 60-lane, very stretched out bowling establishment.
A large, large frame. If Ferraro had struck there, he'd have had Weber on the ropes. The match is up for grabs.
As we indicated, Weber 3 times in the finals, finishing 5th. Well, at least worst he can do here is 2nd, and he doesn't want that because it's a chance to be one of only 3 to win the U.S. Open, the Firestone, and this championship. There he was back in his tempo.
Peter is the tournament leader. He made the decision to finish on the left-hand lane in the clutch, and there he is right now. The best shot he has thrown so far in the match, there's no doubt. He knows they're all going down on this shot. And for Pete Weber to win the Triple Crown, he can take it all himself right now. With 2 strikes, if he strikes in the 10th and 11th, he will shut out Dave Ferraro. 2 strikes, nothing Ferraro can do.
He's 4 lanes off to the left. Pete Weber, can you imagine in Florissant, Missouri, Bo, what's going on? Juanita and Dick Weber, his parents.
Well, the first man in almost a decade to have a chance to win the Triple Crown, Chris. Pete Weber stands on the approach, 11th frame. And really a lifetime of training and practice for Weber will be measured on this shot.
And the skaters to follow in Wide World of Sports. Won the big ones. That's why it's the Challenge of Champions. A 9-pin.
It is not over. Pete Weber will finish 221. Ferraro will need 2 strikes and 6 to become the PBA national champion.
As you pointed out, Bo, Dave would be the one that you might send up on the approach if you needed that.
The last time Ferraro was in this situation was in Cleveland, Ohio, against Brian Voss, the defending champion in this tournament. Needed 2 strikes, doubled in the 10th, defeated Voss 211 to 204. the same kind of results would bring him his first major title. Needs this strike.
Come on, David. Be there.
Just perfect.
The only thing that went through Dave Ferraro's mind as he walked back off the approach was an eye-to-eye meet with his wife, Gloria. Everybody here knows the situation. The 6 pins are secondary. He'll get the 6. He must strike to become the national champion.
He has bowled a 221, Weber. Pete Weber will wear the Triple Crown ring. One of only 3. He joins Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petraglia. A tough break, leaving the 6th in. David Ferraro. Pete Weber will wear the Triple Crown ring. One of only 3. He joins Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petraglia. A tough break, leaving the 6th in. David